If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-712-8002. That's 800-712-8002. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Hi, this is Diane Baker, and you are listening to TV Confidential.
Greg Ehrbar is with us for another look at recently released DVD and streaming titles that we think you'll find of interest. Greg Ehrbar, 2-time Grammy-nominated, multiple Addy Award-winning writer for television, animation, advertising, publishing for Disney, Warner Brothers, and Universal. Greg's column, Animation Spin, you can read twice a month at cartoonresearch.com. For more on Greg, GregEhrbar.com. What do you have for us this week?
It's a show about people with funny pinkies that come to Earth.
And that you can kill with bullets. They come from another planet. They're mysterious creatures, and yet you can kill them with lead bullets. That would be the Invaders.
In color.
In color. The Invaders originally aired January 67 through the end of the 67-68 season, so it ran about 18 months on network television. When it premiered, color televisions were still beginning.
Not everybody had one.
Not everybody had one, and so it was a marketing thing for the networks especially to say this show is in color. Mm-hmm. So buy a Magnavox color television set so you can watch The Invaders in color.
It's no accident that Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color was called that up until about 1966-67.
Yeah.
Because RCA was the owner of NBC and it sold television sets. Bonanza, they say, sold more television sets than any TV show. But ABC began Batman, The Flying Nun, Bewitched, in color.
In color.
That's the way she pronounced it.
That's right.
I love that.
Yes. That's probably lost on the radio. But at the end of the tease, when Elizabeth, hi, this is Elizabeth Montgomery. Welcome to Bewitched. In color, and then she'd snap her fingers and disappear.
Yeah, yeah. So. And then we'd begin our show.
But yes. Elizabeth Montgomery was not in The Invaders because she was busy doing Bewitched at the time. But this is another show. It's another Quinn Martin production that features a lot of popular TV stars from the 60s or actors who would soon become popular TV stars or popular film stars, such as Peter Graves, such as Gene Hackman.
Oh, Gene Hackman's in a creepy one.
He was.
The wiggly plants.
Very much the spores. Ooh. And Roy Thinnis was the star of The Invaders, and we had a chance to talk to Roy on our program a couple of years ago. And the interesting thing about Roy Thinnis is he believed in extra. Let's put it this way: he does not believe that humans are the only intelligent beings in the universe. That there are other forms of intelligent life. He doesn't necessarily believe that other forms of intelligent life are invading our planet, but he's not one to believe that humans are the only intelligent forms of beings. And so it was a difficult show to make, and it was a difficult character to play because. If David Vincent, Roy Thinnis' character, if David Vincent convinces the town hall or the federal government or the World Summit that we're being invaded by beings that are more powerful and smarter than we are, that's the end of the show.
Yeah.
So you've got to make him believable, even though you know that he's going to be thwarted at the end.
Though there are twists, and that's what makes this show very well done and surprisingly not stupid as you might think. This show, I know it's kind of a cliche to say it still holds up. It is dated in that whenever they show special effects hardware, buttons and dials, that always dates a show like that.
Yeah,
but they rarely do.
No.
That's why this show works fairly well. It is still shot and edited and told in a story style of, 67, 68. However, because the show is more about the drama and the paranoia of what he's going through and about the characters, it is not a science fiction show per se. So that's why it kind of works well now.
Yeah, it is a show about paranoia more than anything else. And going back to the fact that he personally was a believer in other forms of intelligent life, that gave his portrayal of David Vincent an added texture, because the show succeeds on Roy Thinnis's ability to make David Vincent a believable character that you want to follow every week.
Yeah, he actually makes it look very easy, but this role could come across really histrionic, really cold, and he sometimes has to do not particularly nice things, and yet he has to be somewhat likable so that you want to continue watching this character. It is a very difficult role, and he does it extremely, extremely well. And Roy Thinnis has had a very long, successful career, not always in a lead, but he's always really worked. And I think that this show proves what a really good actor he is.
Yeah, he went on to do a show called The Psychiatrist for NBC. If memory serves, it was written and developed by Levinson and Link for Universal. I believe it originally aired as part of The Bold Ones. It was an anthology show in which he played a compassionate psychiatrist who got involved in the lives of his patients. And that was the backdrop to explore, social issues. And it was a good role for him because, as a psychiatrist, you're reacting to the drama of the character, and then he decides, okay, I need to step in and intervene.
They also play with the best episodes play with your mind a little bit, where sometimes he might have to form an uneasy alliance with an alien, or there are people who do believe him, but then that isn't necessarily the best thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Because a town does find out, but there's a price to pay for that. And then what do you do? Now what happens? And there are some episodes you go, gee, that was pretty good. And like a lot of these series that aren't as well known now, you have to wonder if today's filmmakers and television makers watched this show or watched the DVDs and maybe took a few notes. I know that he did appear on the X-Files, and that there's no denying that X-Files was inspired, and other shows were inspired by this. His name, even, David Vincent, is Vincent Price. Mm-hmm. That's where the name comes from. So this show is a very unique... It is not just another 60s escapist show.
No.
Though it could have gone another season, and it's a shame it didn't, because this show also, even though the episodes do stand alone, it does start to arc.
We're talking about The Invaders, the Quinn Martin production starring Roy Thinnis, which is available on DVD. We will replay our conversation with Roy Thinnis from 2016 immediately following Greg's segment. I'm going off memory. I think when they renewed the show for the fall of 67, a decision was made to give, and this goes back to the tough road that Roy Thinnis had to hoe as David Vincent, and that it was one man trying to convince the world that we're being invaded. It was felt that David Vincent needed some sort of support system. Not a regular cast who would show up every week, because that would get too contrived. But he befriends an industrialist named Edgar Scoville, played by Kent Smith, well-known character actor, did a lot of movies and television in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He would quietly underwrite Vincent's efforts or provide assistance. So there was an underground support system that helped David Vincent in his effort to save the world.
And what happened was, and that was around the middle of the second season. It's odd that they did that. You would think that they would want to promote that for the second season, like, people start believing him this fall. But they didn't.
In color.
In color. But they didn't do that. Ken Smith's role actually, to me, after a while, seemed like Arthur's on FBI, because he was on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
Calling and saying, how's it going? Who can I send? And there were a small group of people.
Well, it was starring Roy Thinnis, not starring Ken Smith.
Yeah, or he was a guest star.
Yes.
Or also starring. I can't remember. But he was on the phone just like him.
Yeah.
And there were a few people who popped up in a couple of episodes. They might lose them here or there. It was a precarious thing to be one of what they called the believers.
Yeah.
So I'm a believer.
Yes. Yeah.
But Roy Thinnis wasn't crazy about it.
No, because he felt it was sort of a knee-jerk concession by the network. He felt by adding the believers, it was as if the network didn't really believe in the show. That wasn't the show you bought.
It changed the
dynamics.
The dynamic, because originally, I believe you told me that this whole show was spun on the idea of the fugitive is no longer on.
Yeah.
This is another guy traveling and meeting new people, but on the run in a way.
In fact, if I remember correctly, when ABC renewed it in the fall of '67, they gave it the fugitive's time slot.
And he does go from town to town, meeting completely different people, sometimes running into the same ones, but basically being a man with no country and no city. Though it's interesting, they always say at the beginning, architect,
yes.
David Vincent, and sometimes you'll see him in this makeshift office, I guess freelancing? Does he have like a DBA or something? How does he write checks? How does this guy do this?
He has to... Somehow he's got to pay for those nice suits that he wears.
But he does wear basically a lot of the same ones too. He, I don't know. We're thinking
like,
too much.
like David Jansen. There's only some. He stuffed a lot in that duffel bag.
Yes, that's true.
David Jansen had the tiniest duffel bag in the history of duffel bags.
You also figure he must spend an enormous amount of time with the library microfilm. I don't even know if they had that in '67, because he always seems to be where the news is, or maybe at the newsstand, because he's in like New Mexico, because there was this incident where Suzanne Plachette was, and then he meets her, and she's a beautiful alien and all this. But he seems to know where to go where the news is. And he's obviously got the means to do that and to get a little hotel room and then getting people business and then move on. So he's not wealthy, but he must have done all of this or has a Swiss bank account. I don't know. But that's things that TV does.
Yes. I mean, those are things you're not supposed to think too much about, because that takes you... But
true, Ken Smith, now that solved it.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice if there was one more season, because at the end of the second season, since that was established... And they had the summit with the countries, and you started to see a pattern of talking to apparently lead aliens who were more important than other aliens, and there was being more and more interplay of here's what we got to do and some talking. It seemed to be going in a direction, and then kaboom. So there were possibilities that were never realized, but you also got to realize it's 1968. The world had really changed. So the paranoia of the Cold War, this is a metaphor for, was that really even a thing in 68 anymore? We had Vietnam now. Right. We had other things to worry about.
So it's a show that perhaps had they put it on the air maybe through 2 or 3 years earlier might have resonated more. One will never know. We're talking about The Invaders, the Quinn Martin production starring Roy Thinnis, which is available on DVD. We will replay our conversation with Roy Thinnis from 2016 immediately following Greg's segment. If you're looking at the package I'm looking at, these are the packages that came out by CBS Paramount a couple of years back, and they do have extra features.
Yes.
They have a nice interview with Roy Thinnis, where he's in a nice sharp blue blazer and wearing a bow tie.
Looks professorial,
looking very professorial. He's in conversation with our mutual friend Stephen Bowie. Stephen Bowie conducted the interviews. He's off camera. But Stephen Bowie, as I recall, was responsible for all of the extra features in the CBS Paramount package of The Invaders. There's also an original interview with Larry Cohen. Larry Cohen, who died couple of months ago, earlier in 2019. Larry Cohen was the creator of The Invaders.
And he's had a very interesting career. He was a director of films that have cult status, like Q, about the flying dragon in New York City. And one of my favorite sort of, you call it B in the old days, but it's a strange movie called The Stuff with Michael Moriarty and Andrea Marcovici about this sort of yogurt dessert. But it's not. It's a horrible thing.
It's a dessert and a horrible thing.
You can't get enough of the stuff, and it does terrible things. And it's a horror movie, but it has a message about marketing And it's strange. It's a strange movie, but he made strange movies. In fact, he made Bette Davis's last movie, The Stepmother, and they had a horrible fight on the film, and she didn't like him. And I remember her going on the Merv Griffin show referring to Mr. Cohen. And he also wrote the book to the Sherman Brothers musical Levi, which was produced for the first time here in Los Angeles by Bruce Kimmel, who we mentioned on the show before. It was a musical that they had never produced, that Larry Cohen had written the book for, about Levi Strauss. And it was quite nice, quite a wonderful musical. And he was around for that. That was one of the last things that he lived to see.
Larry Cohen, maverick, independent filmmaker in every sense of the word, contemporary of Roger Corman. I had a chance to talk to Larry Cohen many, many years ago, and if I remember correctly, it was as a result of his experience with the Invaders that was the last straw, and he decided, okay, I'm going to, he wrote a lot for television. He wrote a lot for dramatic shows in the golden age of television. He created a show called
Coronet Blue.
Yeah, Coronet Blue, which is a cult show, and he did a show with Chuck Connors called Branded.
Oh, Branded was, I think, the only primetime show that Goodson and Todman produced, I believe.
Yeah, okay, so he was frustrated, as a lot of writer-producers are, because there's only so much say he has once the network gets involved, and there are a lot of decisions that are mandated by the network, and you either comply or the show is canceled. And as he explained to me, he originally saw The Invaders as a half-an-hour show airing on consecutive nights a la Peyton Place. That was the form for Peyton Place. It was the form for Batman. ABC saw it differently. And I think he also had certain ideas of how the aliens should be portrayed, which he was overruled on. And so The Invaders is an important show in Larry Cohen's career in that it ultimately drove him to become an independent filmmaker.
Ah, well, there you go. Yeah. He passed away last March.
Yes.
And he's on the commentary as well. He goes into great detail.
He provides commentary on the first season episode, The Innocent, on both Season 1 and Season 2. There are introductions and commentaries by Roy Thinnis. There's an uncut version of the pilot. I think the original cut was like 60 or 70 minutes. It had to be cut down to 48 minutes to air it on broadcast. So you have an uncut, full, complete-length print of the pilot. There's also commentary by Alan Armour on the episode The Peacemaker. So a lot of extra features on The Invaders Season 1 and Season 2 available on DVD through CBS Paramount.
Pretty good show. It's really worth seeing. If you've never heard of it, you'll say, gee, how come I never heard of this? I'm going to watch this.
And it's the only aliens that could be killed with lead bullets.
And have funny pinkies.
That was the funny pinkies. That was how David Vincent could tell.
They also didn't bleed, but you couldn't go around sticking things in them.
No, but if he saw that they had a deformed pinky, then that was the tell.
Yeah.
That's how he knew.
And the music would go, dun,
dun, dun, dun. The Invaders now available on DVD. You can read Greg Ehrbar twice a month at cartoonresearch.com. For more on Greg, gregehrbar.com. Take a quick time out, and we will replay our conversation with Roy Thinnis from 2016 next on TV Confidential.
Buying or selling a home can be one of the most stressful things we'll ever do in life, but it doesn't have to be. And no one knows better than our friends at Front Porch Realty Group. They're a community of realtors serving the Northern Bay Area of California that cares about their clients as individuals first and foremost. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to lease or sell your property in the Bay Area, Front Porch Realty Group will help you through this important transition by providing you with the right information for your situation while lessening the pain. They also work with a network of realtors throughout California who provide the same high caliber of customer service. Call Front Porch Realty Group at 415-886-7411 for a realtor referral near you. You can also visit their website, frontporchrealtygroup.com, for more information on the services they provide, including upcoming workshops and seminars. For more information, call 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com. Front Porch Realty Group. They'll find the solution that works best for you.
Want a free first ride with Uber? Uber, the mobile app that connects you with a ride at the touch of a button in minutes. Enter promo code TV Confidential after you download the app to receive your first free ride up to $20. For more information, go to get.uber.com/go/TV Confidential.
Hey there, this is Wink Martindale, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise.
Attention sports fans, now you can watch every football game you want all season long without leaving your home with Dish for about $50 a month. Compared to your cable bill, you can save almost $600 a year. Call right now and sign up for Dish and watch every football game you want. With Dish, there are no boxes to pay, plus get free installation as soon as tomorrow if you call now. And with Dish Anywhere, you can watch your favorite sports and channels on your smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Be one of the first 100 orders right now and get a free voice remote. Don't miss a single football game all year long and save a ton of money. Get a free voice remote and free installation as soon as tomorrow. But you gotta call All American Dish right now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.
Miss the show? We have more than 500 hours of archived editions of TV Confidential available on demand as digital downloads. For more information, go to shop.tvconfidential.net.
This portion of TV Confidential is sponsored by The Misadventures of Biffle and Schuster, the hilarious side-splitting new DVD available through Kino Lorber.